Hi there. Thanks for turning to Arkansas Transition Services for help with transition assessments. Welcome to Module 5 in our series, Using Assessment Information for Transition Planning, Use It or Lose It. We hope you will find the information and resources we share today helpful as you work with the IEP team plan for one of the most important transitions in your students' lives, the transition from high school to life after high school. What we will share with you today is how to use transition assessment results in the planning and development of a high-quality transition plan within the IEP. You will see how transition assessment results can be shared with students and then be incorporated into measurable post-secondary goals, along with activities that can help progress toward those goals. We will share a variety of resources as all students are different and may respond differently to the varying assessments, approaches, and strategies. Remember, the best thing you can do for your students is take time to review the resources, try them, and communicate with your student and the IEP team. We hope we inspire you to try a new tool or approach in this module. We all know that the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act mandates that post-secondary goals for employment, education and training, and independent living as needed are established, and a plan for working towards those goals is in place by the time a student with disabilities reaches the age of 16. We need to complete assessments for our students because that is what leads us to meaningful and appropriate goals and activities. Assessments can show us students' preferences, what they are interested in, where they have needs, and what their skills are. Goals must be based on age-appropriate transition assessments. It's part of the IDEA mandate. We have shared several of those assessments with you in previous modules, but in this module, we will focus on what to do when you have completed transition assessments in hand. We know you have to get to know your students, right? Once you have held an initial interview with your student to get to know them a little better, you will want to review a variety of transition assessments and select those you think will provide you the best information to write goals. After you have provided assessments to the student and to other team members, you should review the results with the student. It's important that the student is aware of what those results mean. If we tell a student, "Hey, look at this assessment you did, it shows your highest interest is in the realistic area," will they really understand what we mean? Instead, share the assessment results in a more meaningful way, such as, "Hey, the assessment you completed shows most of what you are interested in is in the area called realistic. That means you like more hands-on type of work and not so much working with paper or people, but with things. Maybe like carpentry and working with wood, or maybe equipment or machines, like working in landscaping. Does this sound like you?" We can also look at other types of jobs like this and work toward the goal you want. Sharing information in a manner such as this can be more helpful and will motivate the student to want to explore and learn more. Something else to consider is how easy it is to sometimes answer a question only to look back and realize you didn't quite understand the question or you didn't answer the way you meant. We certainly would want someone to review what the results of an assessment we took meant. Students are no different. If you are not sharing this information with your students, try doing so from now on. Since we mentioned results of a career interest inventory a minute ago, let's look at some sample results of a couple of different types of inventories and see if we can figure out how to use those results. A teacher worked with a student, Sally Jones, to complete the O-Net interest inventory. Sally took some time over a few class periods to indicate if she liked or disliked a wide variety of activities. Then she tallied all of her likes and recorded her scores for each occupational area. As we see here, the highest score for Sally is in the investigative area. The teacher would ideally share this information with Sally, pointing out some of the characteristics and preferences of a person who scores higher in this area. This could be done in the following way. "Sally, Your ONET results show a higher score in the investigative area, which could mean you prefer to work with ideas and think more than actual physical activity. You like to figure things out and problem solve. Would you agree with that? This type of dialogue lets the student know you respect her input and want that input. Through further conversations and other assessments, a teacher could narrow down the career interest and find that Sally is really interested in software development. Now we are ready to write the goal. Don't forget to include all the transition assessments provided in the appropriate spot in your transition plan. Now that Sally has identified her career employment goal, it is time to identify the education training goal that would correlate to her desired career. Sally has stated she will become a software developer. That career is going to require her to continue her education at the college-university level. Based on this information, we are going to have Sally complete a college readiness assessment. The results from this assessment will assist you in determining how ready Sally is to transition into higher education. Sally scored a 64% on her college readiness assessment. A score of 80% or better suggests a student is ready to succeed independently in college. Sally also took the Are You Ready for College assessment and had 13 areas marked as sort of true. This indicates that she may need assistance to be ready for college. You can take the areas Sally did not respond with a yes in the college readiness assessment or sort of true on the Are You Ready for College assessment and create activities for the next IEP year. Make sure you share the result of assessments with the student. Other transition assessment results used for Sally's transition plan in the areas of independent living community participation were from the self-determination, self-advocacy checklist. As we look at her responses, we see she has some answers in the no columns for both school and home, as well as some don't know answers marked. Those areas of need could be the focus of the independent living skills community participation goal. A few statements indicate she needs help and ask for help without getting upset. The goal could read, after high school, Sally will use self-advocacy skills to live and work independently. Now we have a goal for which we can begin working toward while Sally is getting support in high school. As you have discovered through these assessment modules, assessments are the key in assisting the student in writing a meaningful transition plan. These same assessments can also help you in writing the transition-related components of the present level of academic achievement and functional performance, or the PLAF, as we special education professionals prefer to call it. In completing the PLAF, there are questions that need to be addressed, and through the assessments we can find the answers. The questions revolve around the student's strengths, needs, how the disability will affect the post-secondary goals, and the current achievement the student has made in transition. The transition assessments are also incorporated into the PLAF by stating the name of the assessments and the results. Let's look at Sally's assessments. According to the ONET, Sally has a high score in the area of investigative, which relates to her working as a software developer. From the transition student interview, we know Sally indicates her career choice of working with computers, and the environmental demands checklist also supports this career by working full-time and in an indoor environment. It's also important to make mention of how her disability could affect her post-school goals in the PLAF. The nice thing is, all the assessments provide you with what you need to include. The PLAF should be a snapshot of where the student is in their school career, and using transition assessment results will help show where they are and where they are headed. When developing activities for the student, you should use your assessment results and also consider how the disability impacts achievement of goals. Remember, activities should promote movement toward achievement of post-secondary goals. Let's look at Sally's assessments. On a guide to assessing college readiness, the results indicate Sally does not have a good note-taking system, doesn't have a system for keeping track of projects, etc., and doesn't have a system for scheduling and time management. Sally's education and training goal of attending college to obtain a degree in software development could be promoted through activities like develop a note-taking system or investigate organizational tools and technology. Once again, the assessments guide the contents of the transition plan. An option that teachers should always consider is the use of authentic assessments. Authentic assessments are tools used to gather information in a more natural way. These assessments can be used in a variety of settings and can help the student gather information while in these settings. You can find a variety of authentic assessments in the Assessing Tools section of our website. One that will work well for Sally is the College Technical School Initial Review, which can help her look at important factors when selecting a college. After you have given your student the appropriate transition assessments and written realistic post-school goals and activities, don't forget to develop a course of study. The course of study is a projection of the courses the student will take while in school to help them achieve their goals. The course of study needs to show all the classes the student needs to graduate, both required courses and electives that will help them move toward their goals. The courses must be projected through graduation. Remember that this is a plan and can be changed as the student changes their interests. Now that you've seen a quick overview of the process of applying transition assessment results for Sally, the student with a specific learning disability, let's look at another example of a student. This student, Frank Smith, has an intellectual disability. The IEP team took time to work with Frank to complete the pictorial interest inventory, as Frank is a non-reader and only recognizes certain sight words. During a few class periods, a special education teacher took time to go over the pictures and asked Frank if he could identify some of the pictures showing things he liked to do. You might be able to tell that Frank's choices all seem to be a variety of jobs in the community. This can help the teacher establish a goal to work with and could also lead the teacher to activities and assessments to explore other careers. The teacher should share a summary of the choices Frank made and ask if that is true, such as, "Frank, as we look at what you picked, it looks like you choose some different jobs, but they all seem to be working with businesses and people. Would you like to work in a store or business here in our community?" Again, we are letting Frank know we want the goal to be his. Now we are ready to write the goal. Now that the IEP team has identified the career employment goal for Frank, the team needs to determine Frank's education training goal. To do this, they use the Employability Life Skills Assessment and the In-School Job Checklist, which is an authentic assessment option. Based on the results of these assessments, it is determined that Frank will have the education training goal of, after high school, Frank will receive on-the-job training by his employer using a job coach. The assessments show that over time, Frank has improved in his employability skills and when coached was successful in learning and completing an assigned job on the school grounds. As mentioned, other assessments could help us narrow down a business with the right type of environment and with the appropriate supports for Frank to succeed. This is why it's necessary to have an ongoing transition assessment process and to update the transition plan annually. Don't forget to include all the transition assessments provided in the appropriate section in your transition plan. Parents play a major part in developing a student's transition plan too. Frank's parents completed a parent transition survey in which they were asked to identify his area of greatest need. While they do consider academics important, Frank's parents decided that having assistive technology and communication skills were of most importance as he prepares for life after high school. This information will help the committee decide what outside agency to invite to the IEP meeting and discuss the services they could provide for Frank as he prepares to transition into adulthood. Now let's look at Frank's assessments and results to see how we can use these to write a present level of academic achievement and functional performance statement. The pictorial interest assessment shows that Frank will work in a business in his community. As we look at other assessments, the environmental demands worksheet and the employment support indicators, they also support Frank's job decision. He prefers to work indoors, part-time, and with the same people. The in-job checklist and employability life skills assessment show that Frank can complete job tasks independently but will need assistance in getting started. According to the adolescent autonomy checklist, Frank can set the table and do the dishes but will need to work on preparing healthy meals. Frank's parents also indicated on the parent transition survey that their son needed assistance in preparing healthy meals and managing his money. With some assistance, Frank will be able to work in a business and live in his desired community. Now let's look at transition assessment results for Frank and how we can use those results to develop activities to promote movement towards Frank's employment goal of working in retail sales within his community. On the Job Tips Environmental Demands Rating worksheet, Frank has indicated he prefers to work indoors, a quiet setting, wants a part-time job, wants to work at a steady pace, and have a combo of sitting, walking, and standing. An activity for Frank could be investigate job requirements and demands of businesses in the community. This could be completed in a variety of different activities like job shadowing, visits to the actual business, interviewing business owners and managers, and more. This activity should help Frank eliminate the businesses that don't meet his preferences, which will also help make his goal become more specific. As we look at Frank's post-school goals and activities, we still need to remember to develop a course of study. The law does not change if students have more complex needs and may have different courses. In Arkansas, Frank needs to have the appropriate required courses for graduation, just like other students, and electives that can help him reach those goals. The course of study is projected through the student's exit year, whenever that may be. This allows anyone reading the IEP to know that he has a plan for relevant coursework throughout his high school career. Coursework is an important part of the plan. We hope that this module has been helpful in providing a better understanding of how to use transition assessment results to develop the most meaningful transition plan for your student. Transition assessments are the foundation of a solid plan and a future with positive outcomes. Thank you for taking some time to learn more about using assessment results to plan for your students. Don't forget to explore all that we have to offer on our website, www.arkansastransition.com. Don't forget to call on us as you begin the transition assessment process. Let us show you how we can help. We all want the best outcomes for our students. Let's work together to make it happen. We are here for virtually all of your transition needs. Please take a minute or so to let us know how we did. We know these times are unprecedented, and we are working to accommodate the needs you have in learning more about secondary transition. We will be sending you an evaluation, and we thank you for completing it. Have a great day.